What up? It's Ed Park, aka Taugrim. We're going to look at reviving and finishing opponents using tournament footage. I down this warrior and I'm channeling my finish ability. He knocks me down with the warrior 2 ability. And an Asura warrior comes up, I smack him in the face with a rifle 5 knockback, and as I'm channeling the finish, he comes over with his hammer and knocks me down. And then my fear comes off cooldown. That's the utility 9 skill. We counter fear bomb each other, which is hilarious. I was trying to clear the Asura warrior off while I finished off his friendly, but he also just interrupted me there with his May stun skill, and then he revived his warrior friend. So it can be tough in this game, especially if you're playing against competent opponents, to finish off an opponent in a 1 versus 2. It really requires good use of CC, as it turns out that Asura warrior had as much CC as I did. Now, you want to be smart about using your CCs. Right here is a very dumb way to use it. I blew my fear bomb here at this initial fight at the middle node, and tactically that achieved nothing because all we got out of that was 1 tick in the middle objective area because it's so big. Now I have this ranger marked target, and right now I'm using my rifle because it's a pretty good ranged weapon, but I switch over to my axes and burn him down, and as I'm channeling my finish ability, I get knocked back by, it looks like a weapon there, but one of my other teammates gets the finish. Now here's the thing, White Lie just got put down, and I didn't have a fear bomb to clear him, and they're also trying to kill Ryoser here, so I switch over to my rifle, do the rifle 5 knockback, and then get a clutch revive here before they can finish Ryoser off. So it's back to 2 versus 2, and then we stay targeted on this thief who's low health, and then we burn him down. Now in a minute here I'm forced to scramble because another opponent comes over, and this is still 2 versus 2, even though we have a third player on their side down. I get killed, and then I come back. We're still scrambling in the middle, and here's the proper way to use a CC to clear and peel. So right there I drop a fear bomb, get 2 people off who are trying to finish off White Lie, and Rinder and I double revive him to bring him up as quickly as possible. So really in tournament play, one of the biggest determining factors in the PvP is how well teams finish and revive, and in this game, because it takes multiple seconds to channel a finish, there's the opportunity to do a revive or rally, and there are other ways to revive your friendlies as well. But I'll get to that in a minute. Now here's kind of a cool sequence. I know I have a full bar of adrenaline. I see that White Lie has knocked down this opposing player, so I immediately hit Eviscerate because I know the opponent's not going to be able to avoid it, and he eats a 5500 crit, which puts him down. So, obviously you need to get people down first before you can finish them. Now, some CC abilities are instant cast and don't have an associated animation, so I know that's the case with the warrior fear utility, the Fear Me. And what you can do is pop that utility while you're channeling another ability. So you'll see that in a moment here. We're putting pressure on this ranger that I have marked, and in a moment here we drop him. And while he's in his down state, the first time I start channeling here for the finish, I get interrupted. So right there I get interrupted, and as I'm channeling, I pop my fear bomb to get rid of that Asura player who is coming over to revive them, and then we drop him. So this is something I've noticed a lot of people aren't aware of. Like I said, some instant cast abilities, no animation, you can use them while you're doing something else, or even in some cases you can use them while you're stunned. It just depends on the ability. And this is an interesting thing. Now I just got downed in that fight, but we finished the boss, and it causes an AoE rally. So that's one of those things you can do. Here's another thing you can do. So both of these players, Rindar and this opponent, are both down. I go ahead and finish off the opponent, and that rallies Rindar. Now I see this opposing Guardian coming up the hill, so I immediately knock him back with a rifle 5. It's intentional to create separation to allow Rindar time to recover, so that his healing abilities and other abilities come off cooldown, so he'll be ready to fight. And then later I'm fighting an engineer at the same node at their trebuchet. This is a pretty good fight. It goes quickly because we're both specs for pretty good damage, and then I drop him here with my axe abilities. It's fantastic in close range for pressuring opponents. You can see I'm consistently getting crits with the axe for around 1200, 1300, or up to 2000. And you see right here that I spotted while I was channeling the finish ability. I can see that there's an enemy Guardian coming up the hill, so I kite away from him. This is a really important thing to do when you're channeling long abilities. Just look around you and make sure you don't get tunnel vision. You know what else is going on around you. And here I'm able to revive Ryoser pretty easily because White Lie is on the trebuchet, and he used that to knock back this opposing player. So, basically, like at this node, they keep feeding it heavily, and we end up losing it. That guy eats an 8800 kill shot burst ability, and he's spec'd, very glassy. This is one thing too in tournament play. It kind of baffles me the degree to which people do not value toughness because they're just asking to get, you know, focus fire. Now, right here, this player and I, as Guardian, we had this long 1v1. It was hilarious. We both ended up killing each other, and then I popped my Warrior 3 ability to go ahead and finish him. Now, you know, granted, it means I'm going to die too, but I was like, this is a guaranteed way that I can kill him if I just, you know, get back up again. Plus the score, it's almost 500. We're about to advance to the third round of this tournament. So we've seen multiple ways of reviving someone. Obviously, you can manually revive them. You can finish off another player, which will do a revive. A boss player or an enemy boss which is killed will revive your friendly player. So multiple ways of doing it. There are also some utility skills that will, and elite skills I think, which will do a rally. So we're pressuring this. This is the third round of a tournament, the finals, and we're pressuring this Guardian here. It's a pretty close match. And you'll notice as I'm trying to finish him, I get knocked back by his friendly player. I switch over to my Rifle 5, counter knock him back, and in the meanwhile, Shinji is channeling his finishing ability. And a lot of times it's a good idea if there are multiple enemies around, or at least one other live enemy around, to go ahead and have multiple, you know, players on your side try to do the finish. And that way, if one of you gets CC'd, hopefully the other one will finish. And in this case here, you know, we're close to trying to flip this node. We just got to drop this guy. And I know that my adrenaline bar is getting pretty high. It's not full, but it's high enough, and the guy's low, so I pop, eviscerate, and get a 4600 crit to drop him. And then, you know, we're trying to finish him as soon as possible. They keep streaming in their players 1 or 2 at a time, so, you know, we just make sure to be careful about finishing them. Now, this sequence here at the keep, this is really poorly played. This is a 2v2, and they're focus firing Ryosur, who gets dropped here in a moment. And you can see most of my crowd control abilities are on cooldown. My Fear Bomb's on cooldown. I'm using my axe right now. So Ryosur gets dropped, and I really should have stopped and tried to revive him or switch over to my rifle and knock one of them back, but I've got tunnel vision, and as a result, Ryosur gets killed. And then they play this 1 versus 2 correctly. The guy that I'm DPSing starts the kite while his friendly player is just beating on me. That's the way you can win a 2 versus 1 consistently. They're playing it smart. I should have switched over my rifle to help drop the guy who's kiting me, but I don't do it, and I get killed. Now, White Light comes over. I'm smacking this guy with a rock, by the way. So I down one of their players, so we're down on both sides, and then White Light comes, knocks a player back, and then gets the finish here. Now, this is interesting. Their player opted to try to revive their player, their friendly, whereas White Light opted to finish that opponent, and the finish got fired off before the revive happened, so as a result, their enemy player was downed, I rallied, and then we finish off this other guy. Now, this sequence at the keep here, you know, we made multiple mistakes, and we managed to win basically because we brought more players to that node. So we try to ambush the opponents while they're trying to kill this boss, and I'm spamming my Axe 1 skill, which acts as a good mini AoE, and we down several of them, but when the boss dies, they AoE rally, which was really bad for us because we were like pretty steeply outnumbered. And in a moment here, like I'm in like all kinds of pressure as I'm getting a DPS by multiple people, and then I have to pop my heals, and I would have died here for sure due to that boss rally if Shinji didn't come over and pop his Tome of Overpoweredness and give me a full heal. So one of our friendly players, Rindar, he was in a down state on a rock near where the boss died, but what happens when Shinji finishes off that player, it revives Rindar and he's popped out. So you can see tournament play, you know, really any kind of structured PvP where people are paying attention and playing well, the outcomes are heavily influenced by whichever side is consistently reviving and finishing better, you know, coordinating their CCs, you know, make sure to pay attention in a scrum to not get tunnel vision and keep trying to DPS, but to activate those revives and finishes quickly. Now, this footage you just saw was from a tournament which we won, and one of the things I really like about Guild Wars 2, when you win, you get different armor and weapon skins. These are strictly cosmetic. They confer no statistical advantage. I love this because what it means when you do well in PvP, you don't get any stronger relative to your opponents. You just look different, you know? So I've got this kind of wicked looking helm and chest, and then Shinji the Guardian, it's hilarious. He got what White Light calls the reach around armor. It's got the 2 hands on the chest, kind of funky and weird, but you know, whatever. You do enough tournaments and win enough tournaments, you'll get lots of different armor sets, and you can skin yourself the way you like without getting a face roll advantage over your opponent. So let me know what you'd like to see next. I've got multiple tournaments recorded that I can either show 1v1s or the match footage and talk about that. And if you like this video, please like, share, favorite, subscribe, and post your thoughts on the video in the space below. Thanks for watching and take care.